Although most know of the games industry, many are still not aware of the legal side of it, ranging from the addressing of various contracts and how external professional bodies can affect the production and the release specifications affecting it afterwards, like the age rating. In this video we will explore the legal side of the games industry. An employment contract is created to specify the terms and expectations of the employer and what he should expect from the company in return. The contract usually contains the job title and description, the salary, and various other expected articles. The contract also entails that the employee cannot lawfully compete with the company during or shortly after the contract has expired. A development agreement is a contract that spells you the terms of the development deal between the publisher and a game's developer. There are three main articles usually included in this contract. These are terms, ownership, and warranty. Terms are the specifications of what the publisher is expected of, such as the time frame for the game to be created within. It also shows how much the publisher will pay and what the royalties are, if present. Ownership is based around who owns the IP. For example, if a character is created by the developers, if the ownership contract states that all ownership goes to the publisher, the character is owned by the publisher, not the developer. Warranties involve the developer promising not to use any other company's source code illegally, while the publisher has to swear that the developer has the right to create the particular game. If one game company uses another source code or engine, it is considered theft. To acquire the rights, the company would have to enter a licensing agreement with the other two for the rights to use it. This also may be applied if the game company wants to use a certain brand, such as Star Wars is the main theme of the game. They would have to pay for the rights from Disney. Territory contracts specify whether the license is valid and where it will be published. Personally, I find that this may be unnecessary with the rights of PC exclusive games released by indie developers and AAA developers alike, which does not require a contract to be created. Term is when the license runs out after a specific amount of time. For example, World of Warcraft, where you can purchase a specific amount of game time in the form of a subscription plan. NDA and confidential anchor agreements are arranged between two companies. One party discloses some secretive information and the other has to keep it confidential and then dispose of it after the deal has ended. Collaboration contracts are when two companies agree to work with each other to share resources or create new IP. The contract sets out the terms of which the game is going to be managed, controlled, who owns the IP, money management, and finally how the game is intended to be used. Intellectual property or IP refers to the creation of a company. This may include inventions, literacy, and artistic works, and symbols, names, images, and designs used in commerce. There are two types of IPs as well, copyright and industrial property. Copyright involves literacy and artistic works, while industrial includes inventions, trademarks, industrial designs, and geographical indications of source. As a result of the intangible nature of intellectual property, it's very hard to recover if stolen, as if there's no copyright is created to protect it, the potential properties and technology can be lost. However, something that can be used to be sales well handled properly. For example, a popular mobile platform game, Tiny Tower, which was created by a three-person indie development team called Nimblebit and named the iPhone Game of the Year. However, the bigger developer, Zynga, released Dream Heights, which was extremely similar to Tiny Towers, and so lesser developers got confident in confronting them, so they posted a comparison on their Twitter account, which openly mocked Zynga with quotes such as, "We are looking forward to inspiring you with our future games." This resulted in Zynga receiving bad press and Tiny Tower becoming more popular, yet the issue has still not been resolved. Copyright is a legal means of protecting the work of an author, which covers the IP's exclusive publication, distribution, and usage rights. This substitutes author's work from being stolen from other companies or third-party organisations unless they get permission from the original author to use his material. In most countries, copyright protection is automatic. However, in some countries it's quite loose, such as in China. An example of a copyright infringement is between Electronic Arts and Zynga, yet again, due to Zynga supposedly copying the Sim social with the game The Vills, due to the similar major aspects supposedly being taken. However, Zynga countered them and accused EA of being greedy in the end. Both parties decided to not take any further action, and both games still remain active at this point of time. A trademark is usually something like a name, word, phrase, logo, symbol, design, image, or any combination of these elements used by an individual, organisation, or any other legal entity and used to identify that a product or service originates from a unique source. The respective owner of the trademark has the option to commence legal proceedings if someone breaks trademark infringement. An example of a trademark is King's trademark of the word candy. Apple enforced this and removed any outs with the word. This, of course, did cause some outrage with the other developers, as candy was a free domain before, and King didn't even originally coin the word. Eventually, they dropped the trademark due to the issues it brought. Patent refers to a right granted to anyone who invents any new, useful, unobvious process, machine, article of manufacture, of composition of matter, or an improvement to something. A patent application must be filled out to cover it and to distinguish it from other patents. A patent is an intellectual property and consists of a set of exclusive rights which is granted by a sovereign state. which then in turn is given to the inventor for a limited time to exchange for the public disclosure of an invention. Patents have to last a minimum of 20 years and can be granted in over 150 countries. One example of a gaming patent was Nintendo's patent on the D-pad, which is still used on their handheld systems, and it also explains how the Xbox consoles control the D-pads are bad in comparison. A register design is the entire appearance of the product, which can range from lines, contours, colours, shape, texture, and materials. If you register a design with the IP office, you get an extra layer of protection for your product. However, to register, it has to be new, have an individual character, not be offensive, and not make use of any certain international emblems or protected flags, such as the Olympic symbol. Ethics are the principles of what is right and wrong, and also known as morals. Gaming ethics have arisen as gaming has become more widespread and acceptable, as a wider audience has to be addressed. Some gaming ethics may include violence, education, stereotyping of minorities and women, humor, and addiction. As a consumer, it is their responsibility to be aware of the negative effects and influences from video gaming. Both gamers and the gaming industry should acknowledge the ethical issues regarding video games and how they have to address these ethical concerns regarding to the law. Violence in video games is one of the major issues involving ethics. It is speculated that playing a game which revolves around violence as its main theme, like what is being shown on screen, supposedly makes the gamer more violent as a result. The news media usually uses our violence to attack the gaming industry as they blame violent outbursts or shootings on violent games, if even a shard of video game influence is supposedly found, even though little to none correspondence with video games and real-life violence, as many different studies have found. For example, when Doom was released, a very violent game for its time, there were a slight decrease in murders in the US. Ratings in video games were established after the controversy over Mortal Kombat and its violence. This paved the way to ERSB, and as a result allowed PEGI to be created in 2003 and was created to help European patents make the correct decision on buying video games. For the rating of games, adults know which games are for which age group and which games should be inappropriate for them. Educational games are usually looked down upon gamers, as it is usually quite a serious genre and concentrate more on giving information than actual gameplay. However, some games such as the Total War series offer optional educational sections with giving information about the troops or buildings you construct within the game world. Stereotyping in video games can range from racial stereotyping over stereotyping of women within the game. Racial stereotyping can include using a stereotype of a certain minority, such as having a certain enemy or theme being targeted, such as having the game called Muslim Massacre, which was made in 2008. Women stereotyping in games against women may consist of not giving an equal experience to both genders, or deliberately making a women's experience less than the men. Addiction is basically participating in a certain game for a prolonged amount of time. While this may seem beneficial to some developers, especially those who go for a monthly subscription or use a freemium base, as it allows them to receive more money from those addicted. However, for other companies, they may not want their player base addicted, as it may bring a lot of health claims towards the company, which is bad press. ELSP/UKIE was the only trade body for the UK's interactive entertainment industry, as they voluntarily rated games that were exempt from legal classification. They're also responsible for finding the sale charts of a game sold in the UK and promoted anti-piracy. However, in April 2003 they were replaced by PEGI. IGDA, or the International Games Developers Association, was created to give smaller developers a voice as a professional association to exist to advance the state of game development and support game developers as professional associations. The design was their main aim. Women in Games was created to highlight academic and industrial perspectives on groundbreaking work in computer games research, games development and games education. They focused their attention on issues of special interest to women in the games industry. BAFTA is a leading independent charity supporting, developing and promoting the art forms of video moving images. BAFTA only recognised video games in 1998 though. BAFTA gives out rewards to games which are breakthroughs within the industry. The Mobile Entertainment Forum on MEF was established in 2000, and its goal was to give an impartial, consistent and powerful voice for companies and to give developers who produce games on the mobile platform a voice and make them a recognisable side of the games industry.